Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Premier Injuries Daily Update. Now, we're speaking ahead of Game Week 2, and we've already heard from 6 managers on Thursday from their press conferences. So, to keep things nice and easy, we'll not be time-stamped, but we will be going in alphabetical order. So, we'll kick things off at AFC Bournemouth, where Scott Parker confirms Ryan Fredericks and Joe Rothwell are both out of the game. The surprise is Fredericks. We don't know if there's been a slight setback there. Ahead of Game Week 1, he did mention that the former West Ham player was working outside on the grass and he was just missed out on that game. However, it suggests now that it's at least a few weeks away. Joe Rothwell going to have to wait a little bit longer for him. He's even further behind Ryan Fredericks. We know that David Brooks probably around maybe late September, October, until he regains full fitness. Of course, he was diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma last year. He's back in training with the group and working his way back to full fitness. One reference with regards to new signing Marcus Senesi, the Argentine defender. He's been managing very conservatively, very carefully by Scott Parker. He won't be in that starting 11, but he will be in and around the squad and he is expected to get minutes. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if the Cherries were unchanged this weekend after getting off to a great start. Graham Potter, they entertain my boys this weekend, Newcastle down at the Amex, and it's basically a clean bill of health for Graham Potter and the Seagulls. Only Jakob Mulder, long-term ACL problem, and that will probably keep him out for the rest of the year. Otherwise, there are no issues. Again, I can see Graham Potter sticking with that same 11 that went to Old Trafford and won 2-1. He did reference the likes of Danny Welbeck being in the best condition that he's ever been in since he arrived at the club, both in terms of his fitness and his sharpness. So that suggests or hints that Undev will still have to bide his time and wait in the wings until an opportunity presents himself. Marco Silva at Fulham. There had been one or two rumours, and I did mention it earlier in the week with regards to Mana Solomon and a potential knee problem there. Now, that's been confirmed. The precise nature, there was no specifics mentioned from Silva other than it's a long-term knee injury that's going to keep out both him and Harry Wilson. Now, we've heard meniscus that could require surgery. If that's the case, we're maybe looking at around about 3 to 4 months. On a positive side, Nathaniel Chabaloa, he's back training with the group and should be included in the squad. No mention of Joe Bryan. He fractured a metacarpal while on the club's pre-season tour. He was training away from the group. Don't know if he's been part of that. But for the third in succession, they got a good result against Liverpool, 2-2. Marco Silva may be tempted to stick with that same lineup, although he has brought in Issa Diop from West Ham, a player that he had targeted for quite a long time. So that's good news on that front. They're looking to strengthen that, particularly in the back line. Shane Duffy also came in ahead of last week's game on loan from Brighton. Now, Leeds, Jess Marsh spoke about that. More players in and around the training pitches this week. And indeed, there's a possibility that we may have through new additions to the squad. Liam Cooper back after an Achilles problem. He picked that up in the off season while working on the treadmill. He looks to be okay. Also new signing Luis Sinistera. Now that's a hamstring issue. That was contact. So not too serious, but again, going to be managed due to his lack of training and minutes over pre-season. The best we can hope for is being integrated from the bench. And also Adam Forshaw is going to be in and around the squad. Dan James comes into contention. He completed his 3-match suspension after Game Week 1, but Jess Marsh has already said that he's going to be introduced from the bench. He certainly won't be in that starting 11. Other players to consider: Luke Ayling, a few weeks away. Junior Firpo, probably around about 2 weeks away. Brendan Rodgers, Leicester, again, no fresh injury concerns. That keeps things nice and simple. Spoke about Harvey Barnes, mentioned when it initially happened, that knee injury against Seville, played it down, said it wasn't a problem ahead of Game Week 1, indicated that it could be a few weeks. This time around, he said that he's been with the medical department all week. We've got no further updates, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of specific timeline with regards to his possible return. We know Ricardo Pereira is out after rupturing his Achilles, 6 to 7 months as a guide, and Ryan Bertrand still 7 weeks away, not seven, after surgery on his knee. That was a meniscectomy, and he had that earlier on in the year. Wesley Fodder, of course, was a topic of conversation. Leicester have had 2 bids from Chelsea, which were instantly declined, nowhere near the club's valuation for the centre-back. Brendan Rodgers said, the centre-back is aware of the situation, but he's getting on with his job. It looks as if he will be available for the Foxes this weekend. And finally, Ralph Hasenhüttl. A few updates here. One is Lianco is the only player who hasn't trained with the squad this week due to a knee problem, or should I say the only new player that hasn't trained with the squad. We obviously know that Tino Livramento, ACL reconstructive surgery, and also Theo Walcott with a long-term muscle injury. They're out of contention, but also Nathan Tella, he had been sidelined with a knee problem. That's why he missed game week 1. However, he's been linked with a season-long move to Burnley. It hasn't been completed just yet, but the expectation is that he will go down to the Championship with Burnley to get some minutes and some experience. And that's it for now. Of course, I'll be back on Friday with a mop-up of those remaining 14 press conferences. But during the interim and in the meantime, I'll be updating all our social media channels. And also, you can always check out the premierinjuries.com injury table. And that's all for now.